We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, here it is. Welcome to episode 18, season 3 of the BCSN Nation podcast. It's officially 2025, and of course, we're still powered by Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go, sports bar. New year, new look in the podcast studio, same great product. You can guarantee it. Gentlemen, we're starting the thing out. It's 2025. Do you have a New Year's resolution yourself or one you're given to a team? Dion, you can go first, my man.
Yes, I actually have a couple, okay?
Right,
so I want to give the teams a resolution. Let's get back to the three-level scores, okay? Right now, I'm just seeing too many threes and too many layups. Now, I'm cool with the layups. The problem is when you miss them and get fouled, which leads to my next resolution, start hitting your free throws.
Amen.
So practice those. That's it for me.
Back to basics for Dion in 2025. Mr. Feldkamp, what you got? I got a feeling free throws are coming up here too. What you got?
I had make free throws. I know he was preaching on the first episode of Game Day Nation back in early December, and it is so crucial. We saw it in a game earlier this week on the girls' side with Start and Bowser.
Yeah.
Start struggled from the free throw line. We're able to overcome that. But yes, resolutions for some area teams, no matter what age, really, make some free throws, and then your personal reflection. 4 kids and a wife. It's tough, Dion, but I got to get more patience with my kids.
There you go.
More patience with my kids. I'll chalk myself up to that.
If we keep talking about free throws, Mike Robb will burst through this wall like the Kool-Aid man from Columbus. Don't you worry about that. Mine, it's simple. It's for me. It's just stretch every day.
Stretch.
You're getting older. Dion knows after that knee surgery, you had to stretch every day, get everything loose. My back hurts. My knee.
How do you?
I stopped stretching. That's the problem. I got old. I stopped stretching. Now everything hurts all the time. All right. Stretch and then make your free throws. Well, I'll tack on it. Make your free throws in 2025. We'll talk more about how free throws came in clutch for one of these teams in a rematch. We'll get you caught up on everything that's happened since December when we left you. We'll get you all caught up on our brand new studio and get you right here every single Wednesday for a brand new episode of the BCSN Nation podcast. Catch us right here on BCSN or bcsnnation.com/podcast or anywhere you get your audio mediums. And while you're there, at BCSN Sports on all your social media pages. But now we're getting into it. Starting 2025 with a debate. How about that? I want to know. We're back to agree to disagree. First thing we're going to do, Cisco, you got a graphic to throw up there. I want to know if you have a team in the NLL or anywhere that is going to dethrone the Anthony Wayne girls, the Benders, the Pikes. They're loaded. Is there a team that you see up there or in general in the area that is going to dethrone them? Dion, you can go first.
I got to be honest with you. Northview has the closest chance, but I really don't see it. I think Anthony Wayne, I think they're too long. They can score too much. They can defend everywhere. They're going to be a tough out. I don't really see it happening until around the regionals.
Yeah.
I agree. Anthony Wayne's already demolished Perrysburg. Sure. Perrysburg kept it somewhat close, but I just think that they have too many weapons and they have the full team. I really think the 3rd, 4th, and 5th best players or top scorers on Anthony Wayne's team could be the top scorers on so many other teams, but they have Elise and Brooke Bender, the Bender sisters and twins, and they can just do so much. I've seen them practice, seen them play games this year, and they've really expanded their overall. Talking about what Dion was saying, 3-level scorers, and not just scoring, but making the high basketball IQ plays and being able to put their teammates in the right positions and play off of their teammates. I think that they are more well-rounded, and because of that, I don't see anybody in the area challenging them until deep into the postseason.
You're talking at Northview, right? That obviously you saw on that graphic. They're the number 2 team in the NLL right now, 11-1. Their only loss, a 2-point loss to Bedford earlier in the season. But you've got Notre Dame. Started the season really strong so far. A close game last week with Magnificat, who's obviously a great team. You've got Start, who's shown really good firepower. Maybe those 3 teams, obviously we'll find out, like I said, tomorrow, Thursday night, Anthony Wayne, Northview take each other on. But is there a chance Notre Dame gets hot? They've played well against Magnificat, who, I mean, Anthony Wayne would put up a fight with too.
And here's the problem. They score 70 points a game.
I'm with you.
There's not a lot of teams that has that. I understand that, but there's not a lot of teams that has that type of firepower. So I don't see it.
I think Pat Sayer does a great job at Northview. He's been there 10 years, so a decade plus of knowledge and experience going up against quality opponents, and he's had his fair share of Division I players come through his program. So no doubt the Wildcats will be prepared to go against the Generals, but I just think that they have the overwhelming presence and even players off the bench that would be starters for a large majority. But you've touched upon Notre Dame start with Northview and Anthony Wayne. Those are 4 of the top-tier teams. Keeping in mind,
Finley's 10-2.
Yeah, OHSA going from 4 divisions to 7 divisions. That changes the puzzle pieces in our area because you got Notre Dame that are now Division III. You only have a few teams, Perrysburg, Whitmer, Finley, that are Division I, and then mixture of Division II as well.
All right, now I know you guys are going to get fired up for the second one because we have a tremendous amount of talent in the area right now at all levels. It's not just senior class. We've got Isaiah McAlister, the number 1 player in the class. You've got Ethan James, Foster down in Lima, Polnitz, Leach, West, Horton, the Benders. Is this the greatest level of talent we have seen in the area, especially in recent years, but that you can recall? Just you go first.
Yeah, I think it's definitely up there. I'd say go back to 2012, 2013 boys basketball season when you had Nigel Hayes, Vito Brown, Mark Donnell, and Mark Loving from Whitmer, BG, Anthony Wayne, and St. John's that went on to Wisconsin, Michigan, and Ohio State. So you got 4 Power 5 conference caliber team or players there, and all of them, or 3 of the 4, went on to play professionally, whether that was overseas or in the NBA and the G League. And then I'd say on the girls' side, I'd say recently, not just this year, but going back just a few years, I would say you had just last year, we had our first team all BCSN, Brooklyn Vaughn, Destiny Robinson, Elise Bender, Kendall Braden, all 3 D1 college players. And then Bria Jefferson from Rogers was also pretty darn good. And then before that, I'd say maybe the Zaya Cook and Grace Van Sluten. Zaya Cook a little bit older than Grace Van Sluten, but both of them got some play on Team USA at the national level. So I think that would be 2 of the players that I would put a circle around, Dion.
Dion's itching.
Itching. You kind of stole a little thunder, but I got some for that 2012-13. I think that's the best class for real because we're not even talking about Cheatham Norrells, who had a Division I basketball offer. He ended up playing football. Damon Powell was Player of the Year, Division II. Ended up playing football, and then you go to Central. You forgot to mention my guy Deontay Cole. University of Northern Kentucky. And if you think about those good Central teams, remember they were a team. Coach Welling would literally take the air out of the ball. We used to say it because I used to cover games back then.
I remember
if
that.
He was up 6, that'd be like him being up 20. And then you talked about Whitmer, Leroy Alexander. Chris Wormley was on that team. Storm Norton coming off the bench. I mean, and then Rogers, Clemmy Owens, Tony Kennard. You remember they went down to the state the following year after 12. But those guys both went to Bethune-Cookman. And you know who was freshman that year?
You got some guys.
Wiggins, Chris Darrington. Freshman that year. Jackson Lamb, we talked about him. But so I think, to me, this is a good era, but I think the best era BCSN-wise, you got to go 12-13.
Yeah, I'm with it, but I'm ready to see all these dudes we got now eclipse that. I'm ready to see these young dudes come up, Isaiah McRussell and the sort.
And the girls, we've been very consistent over the years.
Talent-laden.
You can go back to, 2010, 2011, when you have Malika Kennard, went to Ohio State, Asia Bishop. Got all those Rogers girls that went to where Kenray Johnson.
Kayla McIntyre.
So Shea Sweeney. So it's been really consistent with the girls. I think we had a little drop off in hoop. I think around 2017 is when we brought Vince Williams and those guys in. But, the girls have been pretty consistent with producing Division I talent. But I think this is a great group. I really think that 2012 and 2013, that was the golden era of, I think, football and basketball.
I got someone else with you that will consistently produce. That's our player of the week, Sean's Irish Tavern. We got to go back in time for this one. Cisco, hit the wipe. We got a full screen to hit. Let me see it. There we go. 𝗦𝗫𝗄 𝗡𝗶𝗵𝗵𝘁𝗹𝘆. We're going back in time, all right? This is December. This was our last player of the week from the final 2024 poll. 𝗦𝗫𝗄 𝗡𝗶𝗵𝗵𝘁𝗹𝘆, the winner. He had 17 points in Rogers' win over Scott. They've since then moved to a 10-2 spot. Rogers is playing out of their mind. 𝗦𝗫𝗄 𝗡𝗶𝗵𝗵𝘁𝗆, our most recent player of the week. We'll get another poll up this Friday. Don't you worry about that. We're moving on, though, to our first 30-second ad from Buffalo Wild Wings. We got to catch our breath. We got to cool down. We're all riled up. Hit the brakes, Cisco.
Buffalo Wild Wings, buy one, get one free. Boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. I want to go back. Go, go, go! Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
You might regret skydiving, but I guarantee you would not have regretted seeing the rematch between St. John's and St. Francis last week. Knights-Titans. The Knights come away with the first victory in December. They got the rematch in the Titan Dome, and the Titans came away with the dub 56-52. We talked about the first one being a potential game of the year matchup. This one lived up to every bit of hype we'd built up in it. Jaden Jones, you see it on your screen there, 12 points, 9 boards, a great game for him, a great all-around game for St. John's. And you know what the one thing they did at the end of the game that they hadn't done in the ones they lost? Free throws. 13 of 15 from the line in the fourth quarter with St. John's. We talked about it earlier in the season. Where are these free throws? Where are these late plays? They're losing by 2 points. They're losing by 6 points. All these things are avoidable. Dion, they did it. They made the free throws. They got the win.
They did. That was a great game.
Yeah.
Standing room only. Had
Both
a chance
times
to watch it. Yes. But you know what? And we talked about this a little bit off the air. I really think being in this Catholic league, once the playoffs stuff starts around the end of February, I think all the Catholic schools are going to be so sharp and ready to go. I really do. But that was an outstanding game, but it didn't count, right?
In the standings,
Yes.
the regular
CHSL.
season overall, yes.
Yes,
But
in the CHSL standings, that one wasn't.
Right. Tell that to the coaches, right? Everything
Hey,
counts.
Everything counts. That's confidence, baby.
But it was a very good game. I thought St. John's had an outstanding game plan. I like what Horton does, and we talked about this as well. He has the ability to just affect the game without even doing anything. Just his presence in the middle, it changes shots. It changes guys' thought process, even going to the hole. But this was a great game.
Yeah, absolutely. They matched up again. Great time, Justin. I know what you got.
Before I get into the nitty gritty, this game has been played at UT's Savage Arena in years past. What are your thoughts?
They need the room.
Here's what I say. Keep it at the schools. Yes, I understand less people will be able to attend as a result of having a smaller building, but you get the tight atmosphere where everyone's on top of each other and you get the excitement and the echoing sound of the atmosphere. You don't get that at Savage Arena. I just don't foresee in the immediate future them packing 7,500 people into Savage Arena.
This is where we can agree to disagree. I like Savage Arena, but I think you have to have that game along with maybe a Central versus Whitmer, or let's say Southview versus Whitmer. You know, you got to bring like 2 games with four top
communities.
teams.
Yeah,
Sure,
that way it packs in, and it's such a great atmosphere. And for me, a lot of kids will never get an opportunity to play on a college court.
Okay.
So that gives them that chance to do that. So I like it at Savage.
Okay. There are some tournament games, Division I, Division II, that are played at UT, so that could give you something for the postseasons. But back to this game, I would say that this game was a good rematch in the sense that St. Francis won at St. Francis, St. John's won at St. John's. I liked in the post-game interview with Jaden Jones saying, basketball is not all about scoring. I love to hear that as just a fan of basketball, and then as a coach, I can imagine as well, just because, hey, you don't have to get 22 points a game to say, okay, I'm the best player. You can be the best player on the field on the court by rebounding, by shooting, by having good passes, by making the smart play, by playing good defense, by boxing out, all those types of things. And then for St. John's, Brett Boyd was on the call for this one along with Mason Lowry, and he said that this was a validation, an on-court validation, because St. John's had been just knocking on the door. Yeah. They had 5 losses by an average of 3.6 points a game. So they've been in these tight games, and it's reassuring for a 16, 17-year, 18-year-old kid to go, okay, we played like this and we were losing. We played like this and now we got to win. That just boosts your confidence.
Absolutely. Both of those teams battling it out. Like Dion said, those two teams are going to be a force to be reckoned with come playoff time after all that CHSL action. Somebody who's used to being the best player on the court. We're going to go to our clip of the week brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. For that, Cisco, hit me with the white. He could be the best on the court. He could be the best on the field. He's real good at being the best whatever he does. Carter Kester, nothing crazy flashy, right? Couple good moves, little spin, put it in. The important part here, this Beckett made Carter Kester the all-time leading scorer in TC history. All these great players we've seen, especially over the last handful of years, Carter Kester doesn't have to be flashy. It's all about what that meant in the record books for Carter Kester.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. He was kind of coming up through the ranks when 2 recent graduates of TC, we had McWinney, Cole McWinney, right? And then Winsink Those dynamic duo players were terrific for the Eagles, and Carter Kester kind of grew up watching them, just a few years older than him.
Yeah.
And Carter Kester, a man amongst boys in many rights, and I just like the creativity here. Just beat your man one-on-one, a little fadeaway. Right there is time in the gym, putting in the work. You don't just come up with that type of shot by yourself on a whim. I mean, he's been doing that over and over again in the practice gym when no cameras are on him.
He's a 3-level scorer.
Yep.
He's a guy, look at his body. He's not afraid to go down there and get dirty. He can knock down the three. When he first came in as a freshman, he was just kind of a spot-up shooter. Maybe the fourth option, they kick it out to him. But you knew he was going to be something special even back then. He's a guy that gets it to the rack, and he can finish at the rim. That's why, and he can finish through contact. But this was a good game also, that Maumee Valley
Absolutely,
game.
yeah. You've seen him kind of fill out this year. He's filled that role that Hessen, Gaston, Butler all filled last year. He's kind of become that guy for TC. We saw him on the football field being, I'm sure, their leading scorer all time there. Does it on the basketball court. Our clip of the week brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Shout out to Carter Kester for being the all-time leading scorer. Head over to @BCSN Sports on TikTok if you want more highlights just like that one. We'll get plenty more that will roll out this Friday. But we got a student section of the week, 2025's first student section of the week. It's going to the Blue Devils. Springfield is our student section of the week. We'll have someone out there. We'll get you the chain. I got a little insight. They're going with a USA out to represent the chain. It already matches the school colors. Easy enough to rock this Friday. They'll take on Bowling Green. You can catch that on BCSN Plus, and the chain will be there. Plenty of action coming this Friday. So shout out to Springfield for winning our first student section of the week for 2025. And now we got another game to preview. The City League matchup we've been talking about. We talked about it back in football season. We're going right back to it. The Spartan off. This time at Start, Lima Senior and Start this Thursday. This is tomorrow night, 7:30 on the BCSN Plus app. This one feels already in January like it's for all the marbles in the City League, Justin.
Yeah, this is a tough stretch for Start. In the past few weeks, they've taken on two Division I teams, Newark and Olentangy Berlin out of the Columbus area. Got Anthony Wayne, came up short against them on a buzzer beater, near buzzer beater, 0.3 seconds left to go, and then taking on Rogers and Lima Senior in league play. So this is a tough stretch for first-year coach BJ Raymond. He's been great. I think that he's rejuvenated the program quite a bit and been in a bunch of close games and gotten some wins here and there. But you got Quincy Simpson, the head coach for Lima Senior. He's been there, done that, taken his team to Columbus in recent years. And I think that you've reached the point, Dion, in the season where you got plenty of film out there. There's no real secrets. You're not going to come up with any trick plays at this point in the season. This is not necessarily a football game, so you are what you are kind of deal. The film's out there. But for the Jefferson boys, Josiah and Jakaya, talking to Coach Jeremy McDonald at Northview, he has said that those two are a bear to prepare for. They're so dynamic, so quick, can create open shots not only for themselves but for their teammates. So Start will have their hands full, but they'll have some home court advantage. Whitmer just down the street beat Lima Senior early on in the year at home at Whitmer. So Start has a blueprint, can look at some film, say, how do we take on these guys? And Start has a shot in this one.
You have to slow them down, though. Yeah. That's the only thing. And Start likes to press a lot. So, and so does Lima Senior. I know they want to get in the track meet. I wouldn't do it. I mean, obviously, you're going to start.
That's not the team I want to be in track meet with.
You don't want to do that. And you have to hope that they're kind of off shooting. You got to kind of get some guys in foul trouble. Namely, Sean Foster. Like, to me, he is, you talk about dynamic, outstanding player. I know Start, they're probably going to press him. Right. But if it's not working, I would get out of it quick. I would try to keep the game to around 50 points. I have to. That's the only way.
Right.
Because these guys, they put up a lot of points, and they have a lot more weapons. The problem with Start, the Jefferson brothers, if they're not on, they really don't have a third and fourth guy that they can go to. So you really have to take that in consideration. Now, with that being said, they're not going to be scared of Lima Senior. I think they're going to come to play. I think it's going to be an outstanding City League game.
So if you are talking about keeping them to 50 points, they average 79.4 points per game, does Lima Senior. They are not, they're not unfamiliar with scoring plenty of points. And for Start, they've alternated wins and losses back and forth their last 6 games. How do you get the momentum, get yourself right for this? How do you slow down the attack that comes from both Fosters and Jaquel Cotton.
I'm playing the percentages. I'm going to go zone.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that those guys take some shots. I want them to take bad shots. Hopefully they're not falling, but I'm playing the percentages on this.
Okay.
Go back into a zone where I have plenty of help, where I can funnel guys, and hopefully they'll take some quick shots. We get the rebound. And if we can run, we're going to run. But if not, we're going to make them defend for a little while. And then maybe catch some guys, sleeping and catch them back door.
Yeah. One last take on this, Justin?
Yeah, I just think, guys, on start side, it's going to have to be what Dion was alluding to. If Jeffersons aren't able to put up 15, 18, 20 points a game, a full team effort type of deal, keep it low scoring, but the Pierre McDonald's, the Avon Porters, the Connor 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝐾𝑠, those guys are going to have to play a role where, hey, give me 8-8 or give me 12-7 kind of deal.
Sure. We'll see how those things shake out tomorrow night, 7:30 on BCSN Plus. Somebody is losing their first City League game of the season. We'll see who it's going to be. But now we got our game of the week brought to you by not Renewal by Anderson. Sorry, it's been a minute. All right. Dunn Chevy in Oregon. Cisco, just hit the wipe. It'll correct me. I'm wrong. We're shaking off the rust in 2025. Don't you worry about that. Whitmer and Anthony Wayne, a big NLL Buckeye matchup. The Generals, a bit of a surprise to start this season. They're at 7-2, 1-0 so far in NLL play. Whitmer 6-3 after a very shaky, winless start. They've been on a roll since then. And the big thing in this one shakes out to me, and I'm sure one of you guys will talk about it, is Antoine West's status. He's missed the last couple of games. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has stepped in well in his place, but you're going to miss Antoine West. Shocker, the Purdue commit. You're going to miss having him in a game, Dion.
So he's not playing this week.
He didn't play last night on Tuesday against UD Jesuit.
Okay, because
he has mono.
That's huge. That is big. I remember a guy had mono way back in the day by the name of Ed Colbert. We might remember his son. It was the great St. Francis versus Macumber game, the Showdown game. You guys weren't around. You probably weren't even born at the time.
It's a good chance.
But when you miss out on a guy like West, I mean, that is huge. I think going to Anthony Wayne is tough to play in general. Sure. They're playing with a lot of confidence. I think this is going to be a good game. But the thing about Whitmer, they do have guys that can step up.
Absolutely.
But when you lose your leader, that's always tough.
Yeah. And for 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, stepped up last week against Springfield, had 28 points. You've got guys like Andre Young who can step in and fill that shooting hole, especially for Andre Young, Justin.
I think if you're a head coach, well, one, you got to realize that you're kind of managing a business in a sense that over the course of an entire season, you're going to have the ups and downs. You're going to have guys who are sick and mononucleosis, nothing to sneeze at. And it's just unfortunate for him, such a star player, to go down with this. And Coach Stacy told me that he's getting closer to returning, but it's just a question mark right now. It's kind of one of those injury reports, game day decision type of deals. And then Coach Stacy was candid with me and told me that he's got 3 players on the team, not star top 3 players, but 3 players that are suspended by him, by the head coach, because they are failing to live up to his coaching standards. Yeah. So a way of making young men or young boys become men through this type of experience on a team. So they got that to deal with. And then they have that tough schedule. They played Reynoldsburg, Centerville, Lima Senior, St. Mary's Prep, and UD Jesuit, top-tier teams in Ohio and Michigan that prepare them for games like this within NLL Buckeye play. So I still see an advantage for Whitmer, but I do see with Josh Arthur, he's saying his keys to the games, don't allow him to get into transition. Leach and West, if West does play, make them work for every single bucket that they get. And then on their side of the ball, share the ball and trust your teammates, despite the fact that Blake Robeson is clearly their best player. He had 34 points against Start and had that game-winning shot to knock down the Spartans. But this game could get tight. It'll be a matter of those guys who maybe not used to putting the ball in the bucket for Whitmer late in games, maybe having to do so to get a win.
But even if West comes back, you gotta take into consideration his conditioning. It's not going to be the same. You know how we are after a cold. So you can imagine after Monty trying to get back into that game rhythm, trying to get back in shape. That's going to be tough.
I was going to say, this Anthony Wayne team reminds me of a lot of the Findlay teams we've seen in recent years. They're maybe not stacked with the top end college level talent, but they are tough. They are physical. And if you get into a bar fight with them, you're going to have a tough time. And that tended to be the problem with Whitmer the last couple of years against the Findlay teams, against even Anthony Wayne last year with Griff Pike and company. They got into a phone booth, got into a fight, and things got sketchy and things got scary for him. So if they can keep the floor open and keep spaced out, keep Blake Robinson and Cole Biederharn off their game for Anthony Wayne. This one will be at 6 p.m. this Friday on the community channel or the BCSN Plus app. We'll check in with it plenty on Game Day Nation, I am sure. And now we got to talk about some college football, gentlemen. We're going into the college game. Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl this Friday. A lot of the games that we've had on Friday got shuffled and moved around because of this. Taking on Texas in the college football semifinal. Our coverage is going to be brought to you by Directions Credit Union. Mark heading down to the Cotton Bowl to check things out. A great matchup in the college football semifinal, Justin.
Yeah, let me step up on a pedestal for a brief moment.
Sure.
Okay. I'm well aware that Ohio State fans are great fans, but there is a little bit of a loud minority when it comes to Coach Ryan Day. So Coach Ryan Day is 68-10. Let me repeat that for our West Coast viewers. 68-10, all right? The losses, those 10 losses have come to Clemson, Alabama, Oregon, Georgia, Missouri, Oregon again, and then Michigan 4 times. I get the Michigan 4 times is the key component there.
Yeah.
But they also beat a bunch of good teams, and they also get to the college football playoff. Yes, they're an upper echelon team, but Alabama has been up there, Georgia has been up there, and Ohio State has been in those games and played close games. Where else are you going to go? You want to just return everything back and then try to start all over again? Let the man do his work. Let Ryan Day do his work. Let's see what he does against Texas. Let's see what he does against potentially with the win against Penn State or Notre Dame.
Yep.
But how about our boy Luke Montgomery, Finley getting some opportunity on the offensive line. Mark Kuntz was at the Rose Bowl last week, and he had a tight shot of Luke addressing the camera, and he's got blood coming down from his lip.
Tore up his nose.
He said, bloody lip. Broken nose, a W's a W. I love it.
Dion, what you got?
O State, baby.
I went. All right.
O State, and I'm going to tell you why. No, because this is the year finally that we can say that the Big Ten is better than the SEC. I've been so tired. Big Ten has been dominant in this playoff. SEC hype, and finally, I think if Ohio State continues to play the way they're playing, I don't see anybody beating them.
Yeah. My key matchup here is Jeremiah Smith, freshman wide receiver for Ohio State, obviously been on an absolute tear. He's going to match up with Jahdae Barron, the Thorpe Award winner at Texas. That's my matchup to watch. You got Gunnar Helm, tight end at Texas. Big fan of that dude, by the way. All right. I got to take a break. We got to get into what's coming up. But first, we got 30 seconds from Buffalo Wild Wings. Hit it, Cisco.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off traditional wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off traditional wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
It's the first games list of 2025, Cisco. Let me see it. All right, we got plenty. All right, we talked about games getting moved and shuffled around. We still got plenty to go. Thursday, Napoleon Clay on the girls' side. Lima Seniors start that matchup we talked about on the boys' side. Central at Perrysburg. And then Friday, game of the week, Whitmer A-Dub. Warren De La Salle at St. John's. Southview Napoleon in Cardinal action. Bowling Green, Springfield. Skyline Bedford on the girls' side, north of the border. Woodward and Scott in City League action. And then we're hitting the ice over at the Ice House. Perrysburg at Clay, the late game at 9 p.m., gentlemen.
Yeah, loving it. Also, going back in time just a few moments ago, shout out to Directions Credit Union. Thanks again for helping sponsor our Ohio State on the road coverage with the Buckeyes. And looking at this full screen here with all the games, looking forward to that Beachy Springfield game. That would be a surprise game that I would point out because they're not necessarily in first and second place. Sure. But teams who have
Pope over there at Springfield.
Yeah, coaches who have in his first year there, trying to get their feet wet, seeing what type of program that they can build, and that's a good measuring stick game, I think, for both the Bobcats and the Blue Devils, Dion.
Yeah, I agree. But the games I'm looking at, honestly, what we talked about, Lima Senior at start, and I like Whitmer and Anthony Wayne. Now, a sneaky game here, and I'm looking at just being a City League guy. I have to say this. Woodward at Scott, because both these teams are, they're not the best this year. So this could be a good game. And if you're a coach and you're coaching one of these teams and you're struggling, you need a win really bad. So this would be a good game.
Don't forget the Walleye will be on BCSN. They're taking on Bloomington at 7 p.m., but I'm looking at that Warren De La Salle St. John's game, see if St. John's can keep that momentum from last week. That's it. First episode of 2025 is in the books. We're right back here next Wednesday for a brand new episode at 4 p.m. on BCSN or anywhere you get your podcasts on your audio mediums, bcsnnation.com/podcast, whatever it is. Follow at Justin Feldkamp, at Thompson Jiu-Jitsu over on Instagram, and of course, follow at BCSN Sports wherever you get it. Make sure you check out all that Directions Credit Union Ohio State coverage on Friday. Game Day Nation too. We'll see you.